Welcome to Lesson 1.10 of the Grant Architect course. In our previous lessons on ethics, we focused on individual professional conduct and navigating personal ethical dilemmas. In this lesson, we expand our view to examine organizational ethics, the systems and cultures that shape ethical behavior at the institutional level. We will also explore due diligence, the process of evaluating potential funders and partners before entering relationships. Individual integrity operates within organizational contexts. Building strong organizational ethics and conducting appropriate due diligence supports ethical practice across the entire organization. By the end of this lesson, you will understand how organizations build ethical cultures and how to evaluate potential partners and funders. Organizational ethics matter for several interconnected reasons. Organizations shape individual ethical behavior. Even well-intentioned individuals may behave unethically if organizational pressures, incentives, or cultures push them in that direction. Strong organizational ethics create environments where individuals can maintain their own integrity. Some problems are fundamentally organizational rather than individual. If multiple people in an organization are making similar ethical compromises, the issue is likely systemic. Addressing organizational factors such as incentives, training, oversight, and culture is more effective than addressing individuals one by one. Reputation protection requires organizational attention. A single ethical failure can damage an organization's reputation for years. Building strong organizational ethics reduces the likelihood of failures that create reputational harm. Ethical cultures improve compliance outcomes. Organizations with strong ethical foundations typically have better compliance records. People follow rules more carefully when they understand and believe in the underlying values. Compliance becomes part of culture rather than an external constraint. Several elements contribute to ethical organizational culture. Leadership tone is perhaps the most important element. When leaders model ethical behavior and consistently emphasize its importance, they set expectations for the entire organization. Conversely, when leaders cut corners or ignore ethical concerns, they signal that ethics are secondary to other priorities. Clear expectations come from policies, codes of conduct, and training that define what is expected. People cannot meet expectations they do not understand. Written policies, supplemented by discussion and training, help everyone understand what ethical behavior looks like in specific contexts. Open communication creates environments where people can raise ethical concerns without fear of retaliation. If people are afraid to speak up about problems, issues fester and grow. Organizations need channels for reporting concerns and cultures that protect those who raise them. Consistent enforcement ensures that ethical violations have consequences regardless of who commits them. If high performers or senior leaders face no consequences for ethical lapses, the message is clear that ethics are optional. Consistent enforcement demonstrates that the organization means what it says. Specific policies support ethical organizational behavior. A code of ethics provides an organizational statement of values and expected conduct. This document articulates what the organization stands for and how staff are expected to behave. Effective codes are specific enough to provide guidance while broad enough to cover diverse situations. Conflict of interest policies establish requirements for disclosing and managing potential conflicts. They define what constitutes a conflict, require regular disclosure, and specify how conflicts are reviewed and managed. Clear conflict policies prevent problems before they develop. Gift policies provide guidelines for accepting and giving gifts. When can staff accept gifts from vendors or funders? When is gift giving appropriate? What must be reported? Clear gift policies prevent appearance problems and actual corruption. Whistleblower policies protect those who report concerns about illegal or unethical conduct. Effective whistleblower policies establish multiple reporting channels, prohibit retaliation, and ensure that concerns are investigated appropriately. People will not report problems if they fear retaliation. Grant-specific ethical systems address the particular challenges of grant seeking and management. Proposal review involves internal review of proposals before submission to verify accuracy and appropriateness. Multiple eyes on proposals catch errors, exaggerations, and problematic commitments. Review processes should include someone with authority to question claims and push back on problems. Budget oversight ensures that proposed budgets comply with funder requirements and accurately reflect planned activities. Budget reviewers should verify that effort allocations are realistic, costs are appropriate, and the overall budget makes sense. Catching budget problems before submission prevents later compliance issues. Reporting verification involves checking reports before submission to ensure accuracy. Reports should be reviewed by someone who understands the grant requirements and can verify that claims are supported by documentation. Rushing reports out without review risks errors and misrepresentations. Expenditure controls ensure appropriate use of grant funds throughout the project. This includes approval processes for purchases, regular budget monitoring, and clear accountability for spending decisions. Strong controls prevent both intentional misuse and inadvertent errors. Training and awareness programs build ethical knowledge and skills throughout the organization. New employee orientation should include ethics training for all staff. From their first day, employees should understand the organization's values, key policies, and expectations for ethical conduct. First impressions set the tone for ongoing behavior. Ongoing training provides regular refreshers on ethical expectations. Annual ethics training keeps issues top of mind and addresses evolving challenges. Training should not be a one-time event, but a continuing conversation. Role-specific training targets those with particular grant responsibilities. Grant writers, financial managers, program directors, and others with specific grant roles need training tailored to their responsibilities. What are the compliance requirements they must meet? What ethical challenges are they most likely to face? Case discussions use real scenarios to develop ethical reasoning skills. Rather than just reviewing rules, case discussions help people practice working through dilemmas. Discussing scenarios before facing them prepares people to respond well when real situations arise. Accountability structures ensure that ethical expectations are enforced. Clear responsibilities mean everyone understands who is accountable for what. Ambiguity about responsibility allows problems to fall through cracks. Job descriptions, policy assignments, and organizational charts should make accountability explicit. Management oversight requires supervisors to actively monitor ethical conduct, not just results. Managers should review work for compliance, ask questions about concerning practices, and address issues promptly. Oversight cannot be delegated entirely to compliance functions. Audit functions, whether internal or external, provide independent review of compliance with policies and regulations. Regular audits identify problems, verify that controls are working, and create accountability through the knowledge that review will occur. Board engagement ensures governance-level attention to ethics. Boards should receive regular reports on compliance, approve key policies, and set expectations for ethical conduct. When boards take ethics seriously, that priority cascades through the organization. Due diligence is the process of research and evaluation conducted before entering into relationships. It applies to grant seeking in several ways. The purpose of due diligence is to identify risks, ensure alignment with your values and mission, and verify that claims made by potential partners are accurate. Due diligence protects your organization from problematic relationships. Due diligence applies to funders you are considering approaching, partners you might collaborate with on proposals, vendors and consultants you plan to engage with grant funds, and subrecipients who would receive portions of your awards. Each type of relationship merits appropriate review. Proportionality means the depth of review should match the significance of the relationship. A major multi-year partnership with a new organization warrants extensive due diligence. A small purchase from an established vendor may require minimal review. Invest due diligence effort where it matters most. Due diligence on funders protects your organization from problematic funding relationships. Reputation research verifies that a funder is reputable and legitimate. Is this a real foundation with genuine grant-making history? For unfamiliar funders, verify their existence, check their 990 filings, and look for any concerning history. Beware of grant scams that request fees from applicants. Values alignment assessment asks whether the funder's values align with your organization's values. As discussed in earlier lessons, some funders may have connections to industries, practices, or causes that conflict with your mission. Research funder backgrounds before investing significant effort in applications. Terms review examines whether grant terms are reasonable and acceptable. Some funders impose unreasonable restrictions, claim intellectual property rights, or require activities that conflict with your mission. Review terms carefully before accepting awards. Sustainability assessment considers whether the funding is stable and reliable. Is this a one-time opportunity or potential ongoing support? Is the funder financially stable? Understanding sustainability helps you plan appropriately. Due diligence on partners is essential when collaborating on grant proposals or projects. Organizational verification confirms basic facts about potential partners. Are they actually a tax-exempt organization? Are their registrations current? Are they in good standing with relevant authorities? Verify these basics before formalizing partnerships. Capability assessment verifies that partners have the expertise and track record they claim. Have they successfully managed similar projects? Do their staff have the qualifications described? Request documentation and examples rather than accepting claims at face value. Financial review assesses partner financial stability and management. Are they financially stable enough to meet their commitments? Do they have appropriate financial systems? For significant partnerships, request financial statements and assess organizational health. Reference checks involve talking to others who have worked with potential partners. How did the partnership go? Were commitments met? Were there problems? References provide insights you cannot get from documents alone. Due diligence on vendors and consultants protects grant funds and project success. Qualification verification confirms that vendors and consultants have the relevant experience and expertise for your project. Request portfolios, references, and documentation of qualifications. Be skeptical of claims that cannot be verified. Reference checks with previous clients provide insights into quality of work, reliability, and working style. Ask specific questions. Did they meet deadlines? Were they responsive to feedback? Would you hire them again? Honest references are valuable. Conflict assessment identifies any potential conflicts of interest. Does the consultant have relationships with other project parties that might bias their work? Are there financial interests that could affect their judgment? Disclose any concerns to appropriate parties. Cost reasonableness involves comparing proposed pricing to market rates. Are costs in line with what others charge for similar work? Unusually high costs waste grant funds. Unusually low costs may indicate quality concerns. Understanding market rates helps you evaluate proposals. Federal grants have specific requirements for subrecipient due diligence that you must understand and follow. Risk assessment is required by the Uniform Guidance. Before making sub-awards, you must assess the risk that subrecipients will fail to comply with terms and conditions. Higher risk subrecipients require more intensive monitoring. Required elements for federal subrecipient due diligence include verification that subrecipients are registered in sam.gov, checking that they are not debarred or suspended from receiving federal funds, and reviewing their financial and management capabilities. These are not optional steps. Monitoring obligations continue throughout the sub-award period. You must monitor subrecipient performance, review their financial and programmatic reports, and address any compliance issues that arise. You are responsible for your subrecipients' compliance. Documentation of your due diligence activities must be maintained. Auditors may review your subrecipient files. Document your risk assessment, the information you gathered, and your monitoring activities. Good documentation protects you during audits. Certain red flags during due diligence warrant serious concern. Evasive responses occur when potential partners or vendors have difficulty providing straight answers to reasonable questions. If they cannot explain their qualifications, past performance, or business practices clearly, that evasiveness is concerning. Honest parties typically can answer questions directly. Verification failures occur when claims cannot be confirmed. If a consultant claims extensive experience but cannot provide references or examples, if an organization claims nonprofit status but is not in the IRS database, if credentials cannot be verified, treat these failures as serious concerns. Negative references from previous partners or clients are significant warnings. If multiple references describe problems, believe them. Even a single strongly negative reference warrants careful consideration. People who have worked with an entity know things you do not. Financial instability in potential partners or subrecipients creates risk for your projects. Organizations under financial pressure may cut corners, fail to meet commitments, or even misuse funds. Assess financial stability before making significant commitments. Building organizational capacity for due diligence ensures consistent practice. Standardized processes, including checklists and procedures, ensure that due diligence is conducted consistently. What information should be gathered for each relationship type? What questions should be asked? What documentation is required? Standardized processes prevent gaps and ensure thoroughness. Assigned responsibility clarifies who conducts due diligence for different relationship types. Is it the grant writer, the finance director, a compliance officer? Clear assignments ensure that due diligence happens and is not assumed to be someone else's responsibility. Appropriate tools include access to databases and verification resources, SAM.gov for federal verification, state charity databases, news archives, professional directories, and other resources support effective due diligence. Ensure staff have access to the tools they need. Documentation systems maintain organized due diligence files, create standard file structures, document what was reviewed and what was found, and maintain files that could withstand audit review. Good documentation protects the organization. Let us summarize what we have covered in this lesson on organizational ethics and due diligence. Organizational ethics encompass the cultures, policies, training programs, and accountability structures that shape ethical behavior across institutions. Strong organizational ethics support individual integrity and protect institutional reputation. Building ethical organizations requires attention to leadership tone, clear expectations, open communication, and consistent enforcement. Due diligence is research and evaluation conducted before entering relationships to identify risks, ensure alignment, and verify claims. Due diligence protects your organization from problematic funders, unreliable partners, unqualified vendors, and risky subrecipients. The depth of due diligence should match the significance of relationships. Key due diligence areas include funders, where you assess reputation, values alignment, and terms; partners, where you verify capabilities and financial stability; and vendors and subrecipients, where you confirm qualifications and conduct required compliance checks. Building organizational capacity ensures due diligence happens consistently. In our next lesson, we will explore an AI spotlight topic, using artificial intelligence tools for foundation research. This lesson marks the first of our AI spotlight modules that appear throughout the course, demonstrating practical AI applications for grant work.